What would you do when facing over 200 pounds of muscle charging wildly through the darkness? For us, that's just another day on the job in Mississippi. With the support of infrared cameras and specialized net traps, we move in to eliminate the threat before crops are destroyed. Hop in and follow us in the hotspot right now. We are specialists in a rapid response wild hog control team in the Mississippi Delta. In this region, wild hogs are an ecological disaster. They tear up levees, destroy crops, and carry disease. Every day, my job starts with reading the signs. Freshly churned mud, deep hoof prints in damp soil, or scattered corn trails. That's how we map their movement. Our goal isn't blind eradication. It's safe wild boar trapping, minimizing the risk of accidents for both people and livestock. Two 20-foot pig brig net trap systems are already in place. The moment the hogs sense human presence, panic erupts inside the trap. They slam violently into the net walls, trampling over each other in a desperate attempt to escape. Dust explodes into the air, mixing with sharp, piercing squeals. But the net flexes, absorbing every impact and keeping them contained. To achieve this, we had been calculating and preparing for days. This system demands absolute patience. On Thursday night, we set the trap in conditioning mode. The net was suspended high on 6-foot steel T-posts, with dozens of pounds of corn spread evenly below. The hogs fed freely without feeling threatened. A few days later, we switched to capture mode. The net was lowered. Everything was ready, but wild hogs are not easy to fool. Camera data came in just after 1 a.m. Tension built in my chest as I watched the herd circle the trap on my phone screen. They were smarter than expected. The entire group stayed outside, using their snouts to eat the bait around the edges. Not a single one stepped fully under the hanging net. That was the real test. If we lost patience and intervened, we'd lose everything. Nearly an hour later, the lead sow finally gave in to hunger. She lifted the edge of the net with her snout and slipped inside. The rest followed immediately. Success. The next morning, as we approached, the entire group was in chaos. Mud splattered across the net, hooves sliding violently across the soaked ground until we began restraining them one by one. Around 11 p.m., the camera showed a large boar slowly approaching a circular cage trap with a netted entrance. It was extremely cautious, feeding only at the edge, its body not fully inside. Finally, it stepped fully inside. The 200-pound mass stood still for a moment, confused, chewing corn as if it hadn't yet realized it was trapped. That night, we headed out again to another trap site near a livestock farm. We arrived on site. A teammate pointed quietly to a torn section of the net. Earlier, a hog had escaped through that exact spot. We had patched it, but the backup clips weren't strong enough. Wild hogs have excellent memory. If this one found that weak point again, it could escape. We weren't taking that risk. A single decisive shot rang out. The threat was neutralized instantly. The next morning, we returned to clear the site. The hogs inside were still aggressive. Our muscles tensed as we tightened our grip on specialized catch poles. The loop snare tightened just enough to control each animal's resistance. Working in sync, we secured them one by one and loaded them efficiently onto the pickup truck. By early afternoon, the pickup stopped at the final trap site. The most destructive individuals in the area were here. Inside, they charged and slammed into the net in desperation. We continued processing them one by one. The job ended as the sun began to dip. Exhaustion set in, but the control operation was complete.
Hip, hip, get turned. Hip, hip, hip.
If a trap has to rely on brute strength, chances are it was placed wrong from the very beginning. And with wild boar, one mistake usually means a lost opportunity forever. For American farmers, wild boar aren't just wildlife, they're a direct cause of crop loss, destroying fencing and legal liability. American-style trapping doesn't begin with steel or sudden noise. It begins with data, collected using everyday tools of modern life. Infrared trail cameras, smartphones, and specialized utility vehicles. Only when everything looks natural in the boar's eyes does the intervention happen. Fast, controlled, low risk for people, and responsible toward the ecosystem. The biggest mistake humans make is thinking wild boar act on simple instinct. In reality, most sounders include cautious individuals that move ahead or stay back to observe. These are the decision makers. If they sense anything out of place, the entire group will change routes, often without ever returning to that area again. Knowing which boar decides matters far more than simply knowing where they appear. That individual determines whether the whole sounder comes back or disappears for good. In the early phase, bait is not meant to catch. Its purpose is data collection. Which direction the sounder approaches from, what time they show up, how long they stay, which individuals hang back and observe. These details dictate the entire trap design that follows. Without data, every trap is just a guess, and in wildlife management, guessing usually leads to failure. Instead of setting traps suddenly, the system is installed early and left in place for days. Control teams often access the area using specialized Ford Ranger trucks, standard farm vehicles in rural America. Quiet operation, low light use. Just enough illumination to work without raising suspicion. Every movement is calculated to make the area feel like a normal, unchanged part of the environment. Entrances are wide, no blind corners, no sense of pressure or forced behavior. When the sounder passes through the trap zone without stopping to assess danger, acceptance has already formed. Ground traps aren't used by accident. The circular design eliminates sharp corners, places where boar typically brace, push, or find leverage to escape. Without a clear direction to fight against, panic responses decrease. Reducing stress on the animal also reduces risk for people during handling and relocation. Ground traps aren't used by accident. The circular design eliminates sharp corners, places where boar typically brace, push, or find leverage to escape. Without a clear direction to fight against, panic responses decrease. Reducing stress on the animal also reduces risk for people during handling and relocation. Effective wild boar trapping doesn't come from heavy steel. It comes from refined thinking. When humans stop forcing outcomes and start observing, learning, and adapting, farmland protection becomes sustainable. At that point, traps are no longer tools of coercion. They become part of a responsible, long-term management system. In those systems, the goal isn't more control. It's timely, precise intervention, just enough to protect crops, property, and the stability of surrounding communities. When humans choose understanding over force, nature responds with balance.
I gotta shoot these things.
If this herd makes it through tonight, it won't just be the crops that are destroyed. An entire year of hard work could be wiped out in a single night. This reality has repeated itself across many rural areas of the United States, where dozens of hectares of farmland can be completely devastated before sunrise. With wild boars, everything happens faster than human response time, and once they've chosen a target, the window to react is almost non-existent. Statistics from several southern U.S. states show that a single herd of 15 to 20 wild boars can destroy more than 1 hectare of crops in just a few nighttime hours. They don't move randomly. Wild boars have strong memory, learn quickly, and are extremely sensitive to unusual changes in their environment. More importantly, after just 1 or 2 encounters with traps, they can completely alter their routes and activity times. Tonight, fresh tracks appeared along the edge of the field, slightly offset from the familiar trail. That's a clear sign the herd is testing a new approach. Miss this moment, and the chances of effective intervention drop sharply. In wild boar control, losing one night can mean losing an entire season. There are no advanced machines here, no remote control systems, just familiar farm materials used through years of experience dealing with wild boars. Every trap position is chosen based on the boar's natural movement behavior, guiding their path instead of confronting them head-on. Bait is used sparingly, not too much, nothing unfamiliar. Wild boars are extremely alert to sudden changes. A scent that's too strong or too foreign can cause the entire herd to retreat instantly. The goal isn't to lure them in, it's to let them continue along their usual route, straight into a controlled zone. Rapid deployment doesn't mean rushing, it means shortening the process through experience.
Ouch! It's charging at the dang fence. That scares me every time.
Before the herd is expected to appear, all adjustments must stop. At this stage, any last-minute change can collapse the entire plan. There's no room for testing, no time for correction. What's been built must be trusted completely. In moments like this, experience and composure matter more than any piece of equipment. At this point, success or failure no longer depends on the trap itself, but on the discipline to stand still and do nothing more.